All right. Hello, hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here today, and welcome to our Women's History event, our with National Reading Month event, Black and Brown Women Right for Liberation. My name is Tamika Sitchin Spruce, and I am one of your co-hosts today. I'll introduce you to my other co-host in a minute. But I just want to briefly tell you a little bit about, who Divas in the City is. I know it's been a minute since we've have came live, and then talk about the event and what you're going to see today, and then we're gonna get started. So again, Tamika Sitchin Spruce. I am the creator of Divas in the City TV. It was started about like a year ago. I partnered with my friend, Dr. Donna Walton. She found uh, Divas with Disabilities Project, which is a great online community of Black and Brown women, with disabilities who are divas, business owners, and everything. And so Donna, came to me and said, I really want to do kind of like this TV series featuring Black women with disabilities. And so I was like, yeah, that's definitely, what I'm into as well. So we started the series, or we actually came up with ended up being a digital series. And so that's what you see if you go to our playlist on here, Divas in the City TV, on Instagram and YouTube. You'll get to see all of the all of the digital series that aired back in, I think it was June or such, but you'll get to see and meet all of the great cast. I'm happy to share that we have three. I want no, yeah, two. We have three of the cast here with us today, so you'll get to meet them. But it features four or five awesome Black and Brown disabled women with disabilities who are taking their city by storm. So, as a platform, as a media platform, that's what we're all about. Is uplifting the voices of Black and Brown women with disabilities, chronic illnesses, and show the world of all of our awesomeness and beauty and ambition, and how we are, mothers, wives, girlfriends, but then also we are running businesses and everything like that. So definitely check out if you haven't already, or this if you're new to the platform. Please check out the digital series. And so one aspects of Divas in the City TV is that we have different live stream events. So that's what you see here today. So last year we did a live stream event about breast cancer and women with disabilities, and doing mammograms. Also, we did a live on cervical cancer, and then the very first live that we did with a couple of women is who are, bosses how they are, living unapologetically. And so this is our fourth live event. We will have another one. So stay tuned. If you're not following us, make sure you follow, subscribe, everything, because on April 16th, we will be doing an important conversation, Black and Brown women, Black and Brown mothers with disabilities speak. So we're going to have a robust panel of Black women, Black mothers with disabilities, and those who work in a Black maternal health space. And so we're going to get together and talk about, the challenges of being a Black mother with a disability. So that is April 16th, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we are partnering with an awesome national organization, Mothering Justice. So you definitely want to see that. So today, again, we're going to have an awesome group of women in the studio with us, who are authors, who have wrote great books and plays. And so they're going to share a little bit about, how they did it, what was their process like, how, writing is can be a form of healing and is a form of liberation. If we think back on, all the great authors, like Octavia Butler, or if we look at Toni Morrison and all the great, Black female authors, and also uh, brown authors. And so, they created great masterpiece and great art. And that's what writing can do. And so within this first hour, we will be discussing that. And then the second hour, you will hear from people in the publishing space, and also in who have wrote plays, who wrote for TV, who write perhaps like write articles and things like that. So if you want to say, hey, I want to get into writing a book, or I want to write a play, or I want to do another form of literary work, then you will get a chance to learn from the experts on how to do that. And so, to get your beverage or of your choice, and relax and enjoy these 2 hours with us. And so I'm going to give it to my co-host, Kebra Moore, to share a little bit about her and her company, Welcome to the Store Publishing.
Thank you, Tamika. So, as she most gracefully stated, my name is Kebra Moore. I am the CEO and founder of Welcome to the Storm Publishing. It is a publishing company here based in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I started my publishing company in September of 2024. We have about 60 authors plus on roster, so it's definitely growing. We have a team of formatters, illustrators, cover designers, editors. I have a CFO, I have an assistant, I have a social media strategist. So we are just growing, and I'm just excited to be here. Tamika, like I said it earlier before we went live, this is such um, a beautiful. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You've created a beautiful space for Black and Brown women to write. Tamika is one of my authors, so kudos to her. I know she had a successful book signing. I also, on top of me being a busy publisher, I've also create spaces for men and women with disabilities because I am disabled myself. So I created a platform for us where I do these anthologies, and it's called Our Power Thing Anthology. So every volume, I do something different. Like for volume one, I did Melody Queens Rising Beyond Disability. So I have myself and 9 other women of color to talk about their disability. Volume two was Women in Leadership. I'm sorry, volume two was I'm sorry, breaking the odds, beating the odds. So we had other women that were disabled that told their story. The volume three, I think Tamika was a part of, which were women in leadership. So we had women that was basically in leadership, just letting them know, like, just because you may have a disability or whatever the case you may have going on, that we basically still boss. We still bosses in our own right. I'm currently am doing volume five, and it's called Unbothered. um, Basically after 40. So it's women over the age 40 that are unmarried and are living their best life. I actually have 6 authors. We have our first Zoom call meeting on the 2nd. If anybody want to be a part, we are looking for one more author. You can just hit me up. And that's about it. So I'm going to send it back to you, Tamika. Thank you again.
Yes, yes, yes. And so we will hear from Kebra in about an hour. So, we get to hear and learn more from her and others as well. Before I get started with the panel, I also want to share that that during after this session, we will, or after this segment, we will, I will share the curated book list. So we have put a call out there to all of the authors, and so many people have applied and to be part of our curated book list. So I am excited to share that with all of you today after the first hour. And so let's get started. And so I will start with Jacqueline uh, with the first question and everything. But first, before I get to the question, if you could just share a little bit about yourself, Jacqueline, and the book that you wrote.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here, Tamika, and be with these great creative and authors. So, my name is Jacqueline Cuevas. I'm a Detroit native. I am a Mexican, Puerto Rican, American, Latina woman, and I live with something called functional neurological disorder. When I was diagnosed, it was called psychogenic non-epileptic seizures. And what that meant is that I have real seizure-like activity that's not caused by epilepsy. So I went 9 years with being undiagnosed. And in the 90s, I was told and accused by doctors, neurologists, my mama, the whole family, that they were attention seeking behaviors. So I seized for 9 years and was told that I just had behavior problems. So what I do is I talk about my disability and bring that those conversations that are needed in Black and Brown communities, the stigma around disabilities in our communities, and I own a business with my husband here in Southwest Detroit. We own Junction Party Store. It is one of the things that I do, but it's a store, it's a bodega that has been like the catalyst for me into my professional speaking. So this early last year, I was approached by a woman from Mexico to do a book called Mujeres in Business. Mujeres being women in business it's available in English and Spanish, but it's about Latina women entrepreneurs here in Michigan. Just our stories, and the book really empowered me to kind of set myself in my powers as a woman because after being denied the diagnosis so long and then still struggling to accept who I was as a disabled woman in a community that doesn't talk about it. The book really allowed me to cement my voice and find myself. And I am so grateful for the experience.
Yes, 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 yes. And I'm out of Detroit as well. So shout out to the D's, to Detroit people that's
Yes.
watching right now.
You're
When
gonna ask what
we
up
say what
though,
up.
right? Like
That's what we say. So so uh, Jacqueline, if you could share, which you've already beautifully shared, but what is the why behind your words? What drew you to writing? And, was there a specific moment when you realized that storytelling was your path to liberation?
absolutely, that's a great question. So, being neurodivergent in the 80s and 90s and not being a diagnosed, I did not do very well in school. And I remember distinctly it was sixth grade, Miss Williams' English class, where I fell in love with words. Words were my best friend. They allowed me to express myself. They gave me voice and visibility. And just the way that the word feels when it rolls off your tongue and travels through your teeth and out your mouth was something that I had never felt before. So I always wrote poetry, and in my struggle with my health and not being heard and seen, I always wrote as a place of refuge, a place to be able to find myself. So my why is because I am worthy. And other people need to know that they're worthy too. And when you judge yourself based on other people's words, that's all you are. Think about how we're raised. The people that raise us, our communities, our loved ones, they do the best that they can, but that is their interpretation of what the world is. We get to define who we are. And that's my why. I want to tell you who I am. I don't want you to tell me who I am. And that's what writing does for us.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I love that. You defining yourself with your words, not allow other what other people say and their words to define you. So if you can so graciously, Jacqueline, you can read, a summary or a part of a page from your book.
Absolutely. This is going to be so each of the authors, we've got about 10 to 13 pages of the book, and this is a paragraph. So I've learned that in life and in business, no one owes you anything. No one is doing you any favors. You deserve to receive the good that you put into the world. You have to go out and get it. And if you haven't received it yet, keep moving on. You will. And although I was told that being disabled meant I had nothing to offer, and that even simple chores could trigger an episode. After three denials, I finally won my Social Security disability claim, proving my worth and securing the support that I needed. And soon after, I joined Self Advocates of Michigan, a disability justice organization led by people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and I now serve as the managing chair. There, I met disabled leaders, educated, employed business owners who unapologetically demand to be seen and respected. This community helped me shed old roles, embrace my identity, and understand that my disability is a part of me. Confronting condescending comments has been something I have chose to do with grace. Now, I chose to become a public speaker, not out of bravery for simply existing, but to break familiar and societal cycles.
Oh wow, yeah. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, that's very powerful. Words that you shared. And where can people purchase your book? We're not at the end, folks. We got a lot of questions to ask, but just for people who want to support you, Jacqueline, where can they find the
Sure.
book?
So if you're local in the Metro Detroit area, you could always come to my store. It's Junction Party Store in Southwest Detroit, but you can also find it on Amazon. Mujeres, the Spanish word for women, Mujeres in Business, and you'll find it there, and you will support all of the wonderful co-authors.
All right, thank you, thank you. So
You're
let's go
welcome.
to next. Our Divas in the City star, one of our stars, and author, uh, motto, everything. Karen Gasparini, if you could, Quelez, if you
Okay,
could share
I
a little
like that
bit of,
introduction.
yes,
Go,
yes, yes, who you are.
Karen. I love that introduction. I'm like, wait a minute. Yes. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Karen Gasparini Keelis. I have a rare genetic disorder called Beals syndrome, which is Beals, and it's basically the brother or sister to Morphans, they call it. The medical term is congenital arachnodactyl. So it's basically a deformity where you have also severe scoliosis, club feet, um, things of those natures. But it's more, it's a rare genetic. So it's not like not a lot of people have it, but like I said, it's familiar to Morphans. So some people are familiar with Morphans. Um, for me with the my children's books, if that's it's more, they are about my daughter actually. And it's it was kind of like a deja vu for me with my daughter because she also has the same rare genetic disorder as I do. So growing up being Italian and black, and also a woman of color with a disability, and going into the library. A library was like my favorite thing to go to all the time as a kid. My mom has 5 kids, so she used to bring us to the library a lot. And I used to notice that there were no books that looked like me, no children's books that looked like me. So I was confused why I couldn't find books that not just looked like me but didn't have a disability. So that kind of made me feel like I wasn't included in some way. And then when my daughter was born, is when it hit me. It was like deja vu because she didn't have the same thing. So I started making up my own stories for her so she could use that as some type of inspiration, some type of motivation, especially when she started going to physical therapy and she didn't understand why she needed to be at physical therapy. And I remembered I had those feelings too of why do I got to be here? Why can't I be out playing with my friends? So I would come up
Yeah,
with certain stories for her, and she would start to, find her own way that way. The in turn into end up being like a hard copy because a lot of during her physical therapy, a lot of the children I was saying the stories to, their parents loved them and wanted
yeah,
to
sorry,
use them for
Karen,
their children.
you screamed with black for a
Oh, sorry.
second.
Yeah, I'm having some technical difficulties over here. It's pretty windy in Rhode Island. If those of you that don't know, that's where I am. So, but yeah, it's more like it's been kind of a deja vu process for me with my daughter in saying word of mouth stories with her and the other children at physical therapy. And then I soon turned them into physical copies because the parents at physical therapy told me the stories helped their children. And my stories are because my daughter at the time was wearing AFOs, which, if you don't know what they are ankle foot orthosis. So they're like braces, leg braces. And growing up, I wore them as well for my club feet. And thankfully, they have better ones now because I wore the Forrest Gump type ones as a kid, and those are not cute at all. So,
No,
I came up with these stories for my daughter called Ariana's Magic Boots, and she's Ariana, obviously, and these are her stories. And her magic boots are her leg braces. So I would like to read a little bit of it so you guys can know what they're about. It's basically 5-year-old disabled girl Ariana uses her leg braces and sneakers along with her imagination to go on adventures. All she has to do is close her eyes, stomp 3 times, and say, "Away we go," and the adventure begins. So that is the first book when Ariana is in physical therapy. And again, it was the deja vu that I had when I went to physical therapy. And Ariana sees a painting of jungle animals, and she's like, I really want to meet animals. And she does her magic words and stomps 3 times, and she goes into the painting to meet the animals. And her magic boots turn
Oh,
into safari boots. So, and then the second one, her safari boots turn into actually a mermaid tail, and she meets mermaids in that edition.
oh wow. Yes, yes, yes. That's, those are definitely, nice stories. And as you share, that's the importance of writing, books or doing literary work, is that we get to tell our stories that we haven't seen. So yes, 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 thank you. And people can purchase them on Amazon, correct,
Yes,
Karen?
they're available on Amazon. And as I mentioned, going into the library as a kid and not seeing things as myself, seeing that reflected to me. Um, there, my one of my favorite books as a child was Harold and the Purple Crayon, and he used to make things out of a purple crayon. And that's where I started to have my own thoughts on I can make my own stories. If Harold can make up his own things, why can't I make my own? And it helped with my daughter. So
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, thank you, thank you. So we're gonna move to our next panelist, and Karen, feel free to go out, come back in, because we want to see you. We want to see your beautiful face. So
I try.
come
It's
back
it's
in.
technical difficulties, but yeah, I'm trying.
Yes, yes. So
Is
we're
the
going
screen
to
black
move.
now, or are we good? Are we good?
It's
Okay,
no, it's
okay.
still black.
It's still black. Okay.
All right. So Karen's gonna come back, of course, and so now we're gonna go to our next panelist, who's also a diva and a city star from Texas, Texas, and she is also a great a fashionista as well, and founder of a great nonprofit, Living Beyond Limits for the visually impaired community in Texas. So she's a nonprofit owner, and also she wrote an excellent play as well. So, I want to bring up here to share her story, Melva. So, Melva, if you can, welcome, and you can just share a little bit about who you are and your play that you wrote.
Okay. Can you hear me good?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I've been having some technical difficulties too, so I totally understand, Karen. But my
It's
name
just
is
going in and
Melva.
out. I don't even know if you could see me. So
Yeah, I can see you. Yep.
okay,
Good.
perfect.
All right, you
My,
can go ahead, Melva.
perfect. My name is Melva Henderson, and I lost a significant amount of my sight due to an optic nerve atrophy, which was caused by pseudotumor cerebria. So what that means is I had a pseudotumor is basically false tumor, so it acted as if I had a tumor, which damaged my optic nerves. So I lost my vision back in 2007. I wasn't born blind, fully sighted, graduated from high school. I got my first job. I was driving and all that good stuff. And I had my son at the time. He was actually turning 2 when I became visually impaired. And I think I drove my car for about maybe 6 months. And so I didn't get a lot of time behind the wheel and things like that. And so um, I didn't know what life would look like as a person that's blind, visually impaired. I've only met like 2 people that were blind that were in my family, but they were so much older. So maybe experiencing macular degeneration or cataracts. I don't remember exactly what their vision loss was, but as a young kid, they were so much older, like, maybe 60, 80s or something like that. These were like my great aunts or great great cousins or something like that. And so I didn't know a lot. I just remember thinking oh my goodness, I'm going to be blind just like them. And everybody was always helping them, like helping them to the car, helping them get their food. Or whenever we had like a family gathering, it was always someone helping. And I was just like, ah, gosh, is this my life now? Is this going to be a part of my life? It's always having to depend on someone to, make sure that I'm okay. And again, at the time, I only had my son. And so I just know at some point I needed to figure out what life looked like without being super dependent on other people. And so I made the decision to go to some vocational rehab training to get, skills training, learning how to use the mobility cane. And it wasn't until my orientation and mobility instructor, she was like, I want you to meet someone. And when I met this lady, she was a Black lady. She was married. She had 3 kids. She was in college. And I just remember thinking, oh my gosh, I want to be her. Like, I just, it's just something about her because I seen some of me in her, and I was just like, if she can do this, I can do it. And that really helped me with my confidence because I experienced just like feeling, oh, my life is over. Like, this is, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I won't be able to take my son any places. And I just remember, meeting her, and she was telling me all of the things that she was able to do and go places. And I still have some vision. So a lot of times people don't realize as a person that's blind, visually impaired, everyone's vision is different. So what that means is it could be a spectrum. You may have central vision or peripheral vision. Some may see light, some may not. So in my case, I have very low vision. I can't drive. I can't read printed material. I can see a little of faces, but if I don't know the person, of course, I won't be able to recognize them, things like that. And so my orientation and mobility, I told her, I said, I want to take my son to Chuck E. Cheese. And I just remember like putting him on a really bright red shirt, putting like little bells on his shoes. And I was like, okay, I gotta go. And so that was a turning point for me, meeting the lady at school, also meeting my orientation and mobility instructor, but also being able to just really um, trust myself to go out in public places with my son and really depend on my skills and my training that I received. So that was that whole, oh my goodness, Melva, you can do this. And so I transitioned into, mastering my skills training with orientation and mobility, assistive technology, independent living, like cooking, cleaning. You pretty much have to learn how to do a lot of those things all over again. It's pretty much the same, but maybe a little bit different in how you do things. And so me becoming a person to working in vocational rehab, talking to individuals that are also experiencing vision loss, it motivated me, but it also gave other individuals inspiration to say, well, shoot, if she can do it, I could do it, which is the same thing when I met the lady at the school. And I was like, okay. So that's how Living Beyond Limits was birthed. It was a testament of motivation. Really sharing your stories, helping other individuals that are experiencing vision loss early on in stages or not understanding what's going to happen with life after sight. And so there is a life after sight. There is so many things that I'm able to do and I have done. I've traveled more in my life now and I'm older. So but I remember I had never been on a plane before losing my vision. I had never really just traveled out of the US before. So those things I experienced as a person that's blind, visually impaired. And I must say, I have enjoyed this life. And sometimes people ask, would you want to have your vision again? And sometimes I think about it, I'm like, if God chooses to bless me with that, I am super okay with it. But I'm content. I have accepted and I have adjusted my life to where I don't feel like I'm losing. I have won in many aspects of my life, and writing has really shared those opportunities for me. So it is, like you said earlier, it's a part of healing, it's a part of growth, it's a part of really stretching yourself in ways to understand that, whatever your disability is, whatever those things are, it doesn't define you. It is a part of your life, but it doesn't define you in ways that will make you feel like, oh, I'm this, I can't do this and I can't do that. And so that's why I named the book, Can a Blind Person? Yes, yes, we can. And it really speaks volumes because a lot of times there are so many misconceptions and stereotypes about blindness. So many people think, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. Well, you can't independently go anywhere. You can't take care of children. You can't be a parent. So it's just all these can'ts. And it's like, yeah, you can. Yes, yes, we can. And you can do it. Just have to put your mind to it. It's about confidence. It's about strength, building your skill set to be able to have that confidence so you can navigate what life look like after sight. So, um,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So when is, I know you're in the process of finishing the book. So when will that book be out,
so
Melva?
the book, it will be, I'm actually wanting to release it April 18th. And it's already went through publishing. What I did was I published a book. I published and rights through Living Beyond Limits, which is a nonprofit organization that I'm the founder of. We provide services for people who, of course, who are blind, visually impaired through education, training, empowerment resources, as well as networking opportunities. And we also host, um, both Voices Seminar, which is a seminar to share stories, but also build that confidence, how to advocate for yourself. Employment is a really big issue nowadays, especially when it comes to the disability community, but more so for those persons who are blind, visually impaired. And so, Can a Blind Person? Yes, yes, we can. Will be, of course, out April 18th. But it's a self development book. It does share a lot of my personal stories and experiences, but it also shows the part of how I really felt in those moments where a job decided not to take on, giving me a position that I actually qualified. I felt like I qualified for because they wanted me to do something different. And I was just like,
Okay.
is this a blind thing or is this not? So what does that look like? So April 18th is when the book will be coming out. I also wrote a stage play called Seeing Me for Me. We will be hosting the second part of it October 4th. And we did the first one last year in October, and it was really beautiful. It was my first time ever doing anything like that, and I just remember thinking at the end of it, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe I did it." But the writing part of it, all of it, it just kind of incorporate each other in a sense of the book as well as the stage play.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so, so definitely follow Melva Henderson. What is your social media handle, Melva?
Okay, so on Facebook, I am Mel. That's Mel Henderson. On oh my goodness, TikTok, I'm Melva Shares, and then on YouTube is Melva Cherie.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Please follow her, subscribe, and everything, so you can get the latest of when her book comes out and when her stage play. Also follow Divas in the City TV. So as I shared, she is one of the diva stars, and so we are most definitely will be highlighting her work as well. So let's just kind of switch for a moment. I have another question for all of you, and we'll go back to Jacqueline. We know that the publishing world, the literary world can sometimes be very difficult. It can be a form of many times gatekeeping. I know in media and film, where I'm, from, have more, know more of, as a producer and film producer and such. There's a lot of gatekeeping that goes on. The higher that you try to climb, the ladder. So, my question to you, Jacqueline, is, what were or are there were there any challenges that you've encountered, like racism or ableism that you had to overcome to promote to publish um, your writings?
Well, that's a great question, and maybe I had it easy because I was so fortunate that this curator of the book is based in Mexico. She's a Spanish speaking theater woman. I think English she speaks it so so, right? But she had this idea, and she is a came into Michigan. The book was actually the second edition, Michigan edition, but she has a Florida edition and Illinois edition. So she is very good at what she does and kind of laid the foundation for us Latinas entrepreneurs in whatever states we reside in. So we had I had no issues there. I was invited to take part
That's good.
in it, which is very fortunate, very grateful. She also is a founder of a newspaper, I think here in Grand Rapids. So what I can say is I know not everybody has it that easy, but do it. You want to, we have to be the change we want to see, right? We have to create the spaces and invite each other and celebrate each other and buy the books and uplift one another as Black and Brown women, people in these marginalized communities, because that's the only way that we can keep uplifting our voices. So if it wasn't for her and her work, then we wouldn't have this opportunity. The women in Michigan, the women in Florida, the women in Chicago, especially with all the stigma that's going around with Latinos right now.
Exactly.
We all know that there's a lot for all of us, but right now the Latino community is one of the communities under attack. So let's keep on raising our voices and extending that. Once you have had the opportunity, help someone else who doesn't know how to get there. Bring them onto your platform, right? Help them express themselves as well. So just even navigating the book, I didn't find any difficulty, but navigating myself as a professional speaker because I look the way I look, people don't believe my disability is real. So that's why I talk a lot about hidden and dynamic disabilities to raise the awareness. So just keep on know what you're worth, and go demand it from the world, like strangle it out of the world. This is what we deserve, and this is what we're going to create for ourselves.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, thank you for that. And Karen, I know we've talked about multiple times. And you shared on the Divas platform some of the challenges that you face being, a woman of color with a disability in publishing. So, if you could share just, briefly, what were some of the things that you had to deal with?
Can you guys see me? I just want to make sure everything's good.
Yes, yeah, we
But
can see you. Yes.
I'm so happy for Jacqueline that she didn't go through what I went through. But my character is 5 and my daughter is 23. So that lets you know how long it took me to publish. And it was because I was hit with so much where pushback that they publishings didn't they kept denying me constantly for at least 10 years. They told me they didn't know how to market me because of my disability. They didn't know how to market me because I was a woman of color or with disability. It was always like in a way that they was trying to say it nicely, but it still came out rude. And then when I did find someone that I did start to go towards, they wanted to change the name of my character from Ariana to something kids can easily pronounce. No, that's my daughter's name, and that's who the book's about. They also wanted to change my character to someone a little more whitewashed that they said could fit more other platforms. Again, no, that's not who the story's about. It's about my daughter. And that's what she looks like with her little puffs and her little and it it was a lot. But in the end, I found that publishing myself made it even better because now I own all the rights of everything. My character, my books, my writing, and people have to ask me for permission lately to use a quote from my book, and I love that because that makes my diva head crown swell more because it's like you have to yeah, you have to come to me, like my peasants, like this is my world, and you're just a squirrel trying to get in that kind of situation. But yes, don't give up and find what works for you is all I can say.
Yes, thank you for that. Melva, were there any challenges that you had to navigate, with your plays and, racism or ableism that you had to uh, overcome and deal with?
I didn't experience any ableism or racism, anything like that. I did experience lack of accommodations or accessibility. Gosh, accessibility options. What I mean by that is when I was publishing or putting some things on different websites, because it's not accessible, it made it very difficult with my screen reader for me to be able to do it completely on my own. So I did have to kind of rely on some um, individuals with eyes that can see to navigate using a mouse. And so that was one issue. And then one of the other things I had experienced was, I believe it's on Amazon when you're publishing, you have to put your like a face ID, like to identify who you are. Well, every time I tried to do it on my own, I was unable or unsuccessful doing it because I wasn't looking directly into the camera. It's because, of course, me being visually impaired, I see better out of my right eye. So I tend to, look more out of my right eye versus my left eye. And so it just kept saying that, oh, you're not looking into the camera or something like that. So I had to get someone to basically hold the camera up to my face and I'm like, okay, you just point it and you tell me where to look, or just take the camera in a way that it will match up with my eyes so it can identify me. So that actually took a couple of tries, but we finally got it together. So just some accessibility issues.
Yeah, yes, yeah. I can definitely understand that. That's things that we need to continue to advocate for. When these on these different platforms, to make it more accessible to people who are visually impaired, and all different types of disabilities as well. So you know. Thank you for sharing that. Before I get to my last question, because we're kind of coming up on the hour, but I just really quickly wanted to shout out some people who are watching right now. So I want to shout out Kenya Harper. Um, who is watching. She said, "Peace, ladies," and everything. Also, Ivory Hunter. Thank you. Shout her out. She's doing great work with her organization, focusing on inclusion within Michigan. So shout out to Ivory. Also, Lee. Um, EH9CE. I know that's Lisa Catino. So, shout out to Lisa. Thank you for joining us and watching. And also, TV Jules 27, who is Juliet Romeo. Give her, shout out. Thank you, Juliet, for watching. And I know we have on Instagram Jamie Jr. that's watching us. So shout out to Jamie Jr., Divas with Disabilities, one of our partners, Dr. Donna Walters. So shout out to Donna at Divas with Disabilities Project, and Debonair Deontay. My apologies if I mispronouncing your Instagram name, but thank you for watching. So, my last question to you is, you share your journey and the challenges and read it from your book. So, My question first to Jacqueline is who inspired your writing? What author that you really have looked up to?
The one author that I can think of is, I'm going to be quite honest, Nicholas Sparks. And I didn't like reading when I was younger because I, with my dyslexia, my neurodivergence, it didn't make sense to me. And I know probably it's maybe not the right answer, right, Nicholas Sparks, but his books allow me to leave my reality, allow me that place of refuge when I felt that I didn't belong. And because he has such different storylines, they're all romantic, but storylines where you could decide who you want to be in life, right? I mean, you always get the hunk and fall in love, right? But I really loved his books and how they allowed me to escape. And once I learned more about him and how he, uh, like the process of going away for months at a time to be involved, fully involved in the project, that is that is my answer. I'm a little ashamed of it, but that is my answer. That is one of my favorite authors.
Yeah, yeah, he's really, really good. Did he write the Notebook? What's that?
Yes, he wrote The Notebook.
Okay.
That is one of the many masterpieces. He's the many the ones they've turned into romantic movies. But really quick, I know we're almost out of time. But the one book that impulsed me to be a professional speaker to talk about my story was What My Bones Know by Stephanie Fu, I think is her name. A wonderful autobiography, a memoir of growing up with abusive parents. And that is the book that allowed me to share my truth. Because when you're writing, you kind of don't want to offend anyone, right? And that was the book that kind of catapulted me.
All right, thank you. And where can people follow you, Jacqueline?
Well, on Facebook and Instagram, I am Needy J, and it's Needy with a KN. So the whole idea about me is that we're going to take our hands and we're going to create what we want into the world. So it's IMKNEADY, and J is JAE. And on LinkedIn, I'm Jacqueline Cuevas.
All right, thank you, thank you. Uh, and so, Karen, same question to you. You know, what author really inspired you?
Uh, can you guys see me? Because it's the
Yeah, can
author
see you.
that inspired me. I want to say when I was 15 in high school, and my English teacher brought out James Baldwin, If Beale Street Can Talk. It's when I finally um, noticed how much I loved words, and as Jacqueline said, the words like spoke to me, and I noticed that I really like started to feel something where this is amazing. And I interpreted the book so well that I got an A++ from my teacher. So that's when I realized that this might be something that I would never think I would, think of me with writing or anything. I'm 15. I'm trying to have fun, and I got my permit, and I got my first little car that my dad got me. I wasn't thinking about being, in educational in the whole until older. But once the word spoke to me, it kind of like set something off, like set a fire in me, and it hasn't stopped since.
Yes, yeah, that's I did read the book, but I watched the movie, and that was really a really great film.
I
Yes,
I
yes,
I
James.
was afraid to watch the movie. I thought it would spoil the book, so I didn't watch
Yeah,
it.
well, I recommend it. It's good. It's good. And so, and as same thing where people can follow you. I know we already, kind of mentioned that, but again, Karen, where can
Yeah,
people follow you?
we're obviously if you go to Divas in the City TV, you'll find me all over there. But it's Karen Gasparini Keelis, and I'm on Instagram. So it's mainly my Instagram is what I use the most. My Facebook is pretty private, so I don't. It's more for my family that's in different countries and states that I kind of like leave that for. So Instagram,
Okay,
Karen Gasparini key list.
Instagram. All right, thank you. And Melva, what inspired you as far as your writing or playwrights? What really inspired you?
Uh, it was the people. Actually, that I do a lot of coaching with individuals that are also blind, visually impaired. I do a lot of speaking engagements as well as with me having a nonprofit. We do peer support groups as well as the conference and hosting Notebook Voices seminar. And so I get a lot, and I also am I sit on the board, the council board for RCT, which is the Rehabilitation Council of Texas and the State Independent Living Council. And so I meet a lot of people that's in the disability community, but more so those persons who are blind, visually impaired. So when they see me and they're like, oh, wow, you do that and you do this. So when I have a conversation with them, I'm like, you can do this too. This it may seem like it's going to be daunting, it's hard, but it was because I had a chance to meet all of these people that felt, like I used to feel, like my life was over, the lack of confidence, the lack of motivation because I didn't see anyone that was like me. And so if I could be a hint of an inspiration, just like the young lady was to me when I went to college, I want to give that back. And so that's what this book is about. That's what the play Seeing Me for Me was about. And that play actually was, a little bit of my personal story. It was sharing, the things that I experienced. And so I had to see myself in order to navigate what this world will look like as a person that is blind, visually impaired, but know that those are not limitations. I can live beyond that. And so that's why Living Beyond Limits is a nonprofit. It's why serving other individuals that are blind, visually impaired. And just a quick funny story. I thought she was going to ask me like what author, and I was like, well, it's not an author, honey, because when I was in school, I was reading books like Every Jerome Dickens. So that wasn't like super inspirational, but it did give me the art of storytelling, of sharing a story and giving that picture of what things really look like and how you want people to see the story the way that you imagine it. And so with Can a Blind Person in the play Seeing Me for Me, it's not what I imagine, it's my experience, my personal experience. It's also the things that experience with other individuals that are going through blindness. So those are what helped me continue with, even though it's nice where I didn't feel like writing or I'm sitting in front of a computer and I'm like, oh my goodness, everything is deleted. And to be honest with you, a lot of times with a person that's blind, visually impaired, it does take us a little bit longer to do things, but also to um, listening to a screen reader, and then you have to do your editing, listening to a screen reader. Someone is always constantly talking to you. So sometimes it can be overwhelming. But I really think because it was placed inside of me, it was purpose for me to do it. My why is it's not just because I'm blind, but it's also because it's an inspiration to help others live beyond those limits.
Yeah, thank you. And real quickly, again, for those who may have come in late, where can people find you, Melva, on
Yeah,
social
so
media?
Facebook, you can find me Mel Henderson. So it's Mel Henderson. TikTok, I am on Melva Shares. YouTube, Melva Cherie. I'm also on Instagram, but it's really the same as my Facebook page. So it's whatever go on the Facebook goes to Instagram. But it's Seeing Me for Me over at Instagram.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So I appreciate you, Jacqueline, Karen, and Melva for joining our conversation today. And so we're going to transition over to the second hour. So, and then our guests are here. So, as we're doing that, I'm going to try multitask. I'll try to. We have a curated book list, so um, I am, thank you, you guys, for your time, and
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
bring in the new
Thank
people.
you.
So
Thank you
thank
for all
you.
that you do.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
All right. So, just real quickly, before we get to our second hour, I don't know if I can try to share my screen. Here, Kebra, let's do this. I'll do the curated book list at the end. So then, so you could go ahead and get started with the panel right now. And so, we're gonna go. Kimber's gonna come on with the next set of panelists, and then I'll come back on at the very end with our curated book list of authors that you need to know. And then for those who have purchased their ticket for the private Q&A, 30-minute Q&A with Kemper and I. We will start right afterwards around 8 o'clock or so. So, so stay tuned. So I'm going to give it to Kebra right now.
So we're bringing in the next panel, the
Let's
next
go.
settlement. Oh. Hello, ladies.
Hello. Hi, is it Kebra?
It's Kebra.
Kebra. Very
Yes.
nice to meet you, Kebra.
Nice to meet you as well. Give me one moment.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
I can't. Can you guys hear me? I can't hear
Yes.
anybody.
I can hear you, Diana.
I was hearing everything and then it got cut out.
Oh, okay. So we have Elizabeth and Atkins, correct?
Yes, correct.
Diana Romeo and Christine Lopez.
Oh,
How are you ladies doing tonight?
somebody
Good.
say something. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Okay.
I
I'm
mentioned
Thank
it's Kristen,
you.
just in case.
It's Kristen.
I'm
It's
sorry. What's
Kristen,
that?
yeah.
Okay.
Kristen, do you have a lamp you can put in front of your face or face the window? Because we
I'm
can't see you.
gonna move, yeah. It's about as good as it's gonna get, so.
Okay, that's way better. Thank you.
Okay. So would you guys heard the first hour with the other y'all? Give me one moment, please. That was okay. So we are going to start with. I guess we'll start with you, Elizabeth, about your personal journey.
Okay, thank you.
The why the behind the words, and what's your personal journey? What's your story?
I can't hear anything again.
Okay.
Diana can't hear us.
Can you ladies hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So back to Elizabeth.
Yes.
Can you tell us about your personal journey? And Diane, can you hear me? I don't know what happened to her, but
Uh-oh. Maybe she's going to pop back in.
okay, so you can go ahead, Elizabeth, so we can
Thank
tell
you.
us about who you are and about your personal journey.
Thank you very, very much. Let me start with my parents. My father was a Roman Catholic priest who was white, French, English, Native American, left the church in 1965, married a black woman who's half Italian, and it was a huge scandal. And the bishop told them they were going to hell, and it was just a huge religious and racial scandal. They had me and my sister. This is the 60s. And we never saw anybody like us. There was no Tiger Woods, Mariah Carey, Barack Obama. There were no mixed race people that we could look up to, and there were no interracial families that we knew of. And therefore, when we got to college, we read about the tragic mulatto stereotype. Well, that was not us. We were happy and well-adjusted and ambitious and all this. And so we decided to write books about being mixed. And we started writing them. My sister and I both have master's degrees. in writing. Mine's from Columbia in journalism, and hers is in writing from University of San Francisco. We were English majors at the University of Michigan, and I've pursued a career in writing. I wrote my master's thesis about being mixed, and then I wrote my first novel about a mixed race character, proceeded to write 3 novels with romantic themes about mixed race women, and one of them was with the actor Billy D. Williams. And so then people started asking me to write their stories. And I organically attracted people who have diverse stories that need to be told. Meanwhile, my sister pursued a career in finance and is a published author with 3 novels about a biracial 14-year-old girl called Veronica, I Heard Your Mom is Black, and there's 2 more because some kid said that to her. So we're very proud of who we are, and we showcase who we are in our books. So our company, Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, started 10 years ago. We merged our creative power and my sister's financial background into a company that has published 70 books. And our authors are everybody, every race, every religion. We have people with physical disabilities, and we have, like, one of our superstar authors is Master Sergeant Cedric King. He lost his legs in Afghanistan as a soldier. He runs marathons on blades. He is a motivational speaker all across the country. And then we also have authors who have 2 of them who have schizophrenia. And so it's really powerful to showcase stories that change the world, one reader at a time. And then our mother's book, she grew up physically abused by her mother, and she became chief judge of Detroit's 36th District Court. So she has this triumphant story of the scandal and all the things, and now she gets this leadership position. And now that book is a screenplay that will soon be shopped to Hollywood as a feature film. So my message to all of you is that writing is power, writing is healing. You heal yourself, you heal the world, you teach, you enlighten, you open their hearts and minds to stories that they might not have otherwise experienced. And the more we go through as struggles in life, the more wisdom we have. It's difficult, but let me tell you, Cedric King's book, he speaks some wisdom through his excruciating journey of recovery that I've never heard. It gives me chills when I hear him speak. And so all of you have so much power to share your story. I can't wait to hear them, and you should definitely write a book. Uh-oh, I can't hear you.
Okay, let me start back from, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Great. So let me just start back from the beginning, and then I'm going to formally introduce everybody. So my name is Kebra Moore, and I am the CEO and founder of Welcome to the Storm Publishing. Just like Elizabeth, we have amazing authors on our roster as well. So the first person I do want to introduce is Elizabeth Atkins. She's a best-selling author and co-founder of Two Sisters Publishing. Next, we have Kristen, right? Great. Lopez, she's the author and journalist. And last but not least, we have Miss Diana Romero, TV writer and Hollywood Fringe. Okay. So we're going to go to Diana, and we're going to start the questions with you. Okay. And then we're going to just go around the panel. And I want to just say keep it to 2 to 3 minutes to give everybody enough time to speak and let everybody that's on listening with us tonight to understand and clearly hear your story. So the first question is, Diana, how did you get into writing, and why did you choose that path?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Just a quick correction. My name is pronounced Deanna, but not to worry because I understand the difference, and I know,
Okay.
it's something that's plagued me my entire life, and it's a big part of a solo show that I'm performing and recently wrote. Yeah, I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid. Since I was little, I remember my sister and I would put plays at home, and we would do the whole stage and cast our friends and write our plays. But I never thought that would be, place the route I would take career-wise. And my dad was a doctor, but they were very artistic. Now, I have an uncle my uncle is very well known throughout Latin America. He's a very well known novelist. He has toured all over the world with his books. And so I grew up with him dedicating some of his books to me, and I loved that. And I always felt so proud. And then as we got older, my sister became the writer of our family. And so she pursued a career in writing while I pursued a career at first in social work and then film production. So I worked in film production for many years. Um, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2003, and now I use a wheelchair for mobility because of it. And one of the things when I made the decision to use a wheelchair because I could no longer walk was 2018, and that's when I decided to follow my true passion. Oh, and I had written a short film that I also produced, and it won awards, and it was international. And so anyway, in 2018, I started using the wheelchair, and I said, you know what? Writers sit all day long, so I'm not going to be any different than them. I'm going to do this. I'm finally going to follow my career. And my dream has always been to write for television. And I don't know how I ended up in film, but that was, the biggest part of my career was in film. Anyway, please cut me off if I'm taking too long. But so I decided to start writing, and I had already written several pilots on my own because for fun, to learn, to see how it all is. And I started writing personal essays, and I started getting into television. But after the writer's strike happened in 2003, I was like, I'm tired of pitching to other people or writing for my computer, because that's pretty much the only people that are seeing my script is my computer or fellowships or places like that, but not where I really want my storytelling to go. So during the strike, I was on a show, and we didn't know if it was going to be, if it was going to be us back or if it was going to be our season finale. And when the strike happened, we finished that season. And as it turns out, the network decided until the strike, everybody came back from the strike in November or whenever that was, like several months later, that they were going to cancel the show. So we all found ourselves with no work or nothing. And that's when I ran into somebody I knew, and he teaches solo writing. And I said, this is what I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to tell my story. And so I wrote and developed a short solo show that I performed in two festivals last year, and I'm performing in New York next week, and here in LA again at the end of April. So basically, my interest in, to make it short, my interest in writing has always been there. Just it's gone through several different types of storytelling, and I think that, and my other reasoning for doing it was also I don't want to be pitching to other people. I want to put my stories on stage, and if it's going to be on stage, if film and TV doesn't take me, I'll see if stage takes me. And so that's the nutshell of it all. Um, yeah.
Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on everything that you're doing. I used to live in California. I still live in Riverside County, so I'm very
Okay.
familiar with the film industry and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, Miss Kristen Lopez, the same question for you. How did you get into writing, and why did you choose that path?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a writer. I was writing movie reviews in my high school newspaper. The teachers tended to like my stuff more than my peers, which I thought was definitely telling me something. And when I graduated high school, I started doing movie reviews for a very small site. Paid me a whopping, $11 a review. I eventually got one raise of $1. That was great. And I went to school to get my master's in English because my parents were like, well, worst case scenario, you can always teach, which I did not want to do. No disrespect to teachers, it just wasn't my thing. And, eventually when I was trying to kind of figure out what I was going to do after college, I was, like, well, I could, write about movies or entertainment and do that until I got a real job. And then eventually, several years passed, and I've been, writing ever since. Entertainment journalism is my real job. And eventually I decided to write some nonfiction books. And yeah, so it's just kind of been something that I always had an interest in and I was good at, but I didn't think I'd ever get paid for it, let alone kind of have the platform that I have developed. So yeah.
Great answer. Congratulations to you as well. So I'm going to go with the next question, and I'm going to start with you, Elizabeth. What has your journey been like?
It's exhilarating because I'm sharing a lot of knowledge and providing a global platform for people to share stories that might not otherwise be heard. And that was the mission that my sister Catherine and I initiated, that we want, just like we didn't see stories representing ourselves as we grew up, we want the affirming experience, the affirmation of reading a book about yourself or someone like yourself. And now we are putting books into the hands of people all around the world to open their hearts and minds and learn about people who might be different from them.
Thank you. That is such amazing. And I understand as well. I, as a woman of color, with a disability as well, I'm in a wheelchair from a car accident. So I understand the importance of getting people's stories out there that have a disabilities, because our stories matter just as much as the next person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Deanna, is that correct? Great,
Yes,
thank
thank
you.
you.
So, same question for you. What has your journey been like?
Um, it's been a journey of finding myself for the most part, and it's
Hmm.
been a journey of realizing that, you know, I this is really quickly backstory, very fast. I was born in Kansas. My parents are from Colombia. So I've never really belonged in Kansas and never really belonged in Colombia. One, I'm a gringa, the other one, I'm Colombian. And then I grew up in a very affluent white and a Jewish community. So I've never really belonged or felt like I fit in, not because of race necessarily, because my race was never, sometimes, I don't want to say never. It was at times pointed out, and there were subtle, microaggressions and things like that. But for the most part, it was just me feeling like I never fit in. I couldn't understand either side or all the sides and everybody and who I was. And my parents were very, anyway, it's been a journey of finding myself, but always wanting to be a storyteller and always wanting to tell stories in some way. When I was a social worker, the kids, I worked with runaway kids and kids in the streets of Hollywood. Um, and they would tell me the most amazing stories. And I was like, I want to write these. I don't want to be, I mean, I'm sorry, guys, I want to work with them, but I really want to be writing and putting them on TV and film. So, so I've gone through that. Now I'm on stage. Now I'm doing my solo show, but I'm thinking like the ideas of plays are coming to me right now, and I'm like, oh, I want to write about this. And I've just become, I was starting to become very disillusioned because writing for television and for film is so, I mean, it's not just the competition, but the contracture that's the industry's just falling apart right now. And so it just feels really liberating to, to think of just being able to write on stage and to be able to cast people and to be able to be able to tell a whole story on stage and not ask for people's permission. And so I think I've finally reached, and it took me a long time to reach both. Hey, I'm okay. It took me getting into a wheelchair and becoming disabled for me to realize that it was okay not to fit in. And for me to realize at the same time that, hey, it was not fitting in ever that has helped me go and transition into a world of somebody who's disabled because I never was before. So, I mean, I've gone through so many ups and downs and so many things to get to where I am now. And I'm just so happy that I think that I know so much and that I've experienced so much. But then now to be here and be like, this is it. I think I found it. But I don't know, because in a couple of years I might find something else. So we'll see. I'm open to anything that comes my way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. And Elizabeth,
Yes,
same question for you. Did you just answer, or was it Kristen?
I think Kristen's next about the journey.
Yes. So yes, Kristen, if you can tell me about what the journey has been like for you. I know you stated earlier, you kind of answered the question a little bit, as far as your parents want you to be an English teacher, and now that you're on this journey now as a author and a journalist, how has it been for you? How has it been for you? Were there like good times, bad times? We both know in the industry of writing, it can be up and down.
Yeah, I mean, the entertainment journalism world, I mean, like any journalistic background, it's feast or famine, so I've been freelance longer than I've actually had regular salary job, but I have had salary positions. I was the film editor for The Wrap. I was the TV editor for IndieWire, and working those long hours and the commute and everything is definitely a challenge. But going back into the freelance world now, it's kind of been heartening as everything is slowly falling apart. That I'm still able to get work, which is good. And writing an actual book is just kind of something I fell into. I didn't plan on it. It was the first book kind of was offered to me, and I kind of ran with it and published a couple others in very quick succession. So I mean, right now I'm very content with how things are, and hoping that I can just kind of stick with it. Because at this point I'm too old to learn anything else. I refuse.
Thank you. All right. So this next question, I'm going to actually direct it to Elizabeth, because well, no, let me back up. For first-time authors, the choice between traditional, hybrid, and self-publishing can be so overwhelming. I know, as myself, as a hybrid publishing company,
Mm-hmm.
you get a lot of questions.
Right.
Now that we offer so much services and things like that, and so yes, this is to you, Elizabeth. I want to ask a question. With you having your own publishing company, how should a writer determine which model best protects their creative vision and financial interests?
Oh, wow. That is an excellent question. Well, as you said, there's three types of publishing, and it's first important to understand what each of them are: self-publishing, hybrid publishing, and traditional publishing. One major factor is money. If you hire a hybrid publisher like us, people pay us to perform the service of publishing. And we publish on a global platform. We build wonderful relationships. It's a long-term relationship, and it's very nurturing and personalized, customized. However, if you want to go to the most prestigious and lucrative way to publish a book from the beginning, it's traditional publishing. That means Simon and Schuster, Random House, the big publishers. However, you need a literary agent who believes in you, who will pitch your book, get you a great book deal. You can make a lot of money. They pay you, purchase the rights to publish your book, and then they do marketing. They do everything. They edit, they publish, they distribute, they market, hopefully send you on a book tour. And then the easiest, cheapest, fastest way to go is self-publishing. But that is a huge learning curve and a lot of work, and everything is on you. And there's lots of steps required to do it correctly. And then marketing is a 48-hour day job. So you publish the book, that's step one, but marketing is something that you really need guidance to make sure you get a return on your investment and to get the books into the hands of people who really need to read it. So my advice, if all of you out there who are first-time authors, you're not sure, you can set up a call with me. I saw on Kibra's website, she's got a free consultation button on there as well. Talk to an expert before you spend any money, and make sure you really understand the industry before you step forward so you can make the smartest decisions. One word of warning about the big five publishers: of course, everyone wants to be there. However, if you are not a celebrity and you don't have a large platform online, you're not a speaker with gigs all across they want to sell books. So they want authors who already have a platform where they can write a book and immediately sell it. So if you don't have a big audience, that's not always the best route for you to go.
Yes, I will agree with Elizabeth about but basically everything she stated. And that's why what has been working best for my company is the hybrid, because not only that, you are building a relationship with your authors. And the fact that I built a team and now we have marketing, I'm noticing that a lot of my authors are actually really selling, getting their books out there. They're being on covers of magazines. They're being Design Magazine. They're being on podcasts. They're getting invited to bookstores like Barnes and Nobles and Books a Millions. But it takes a lot of work. And I do agree, you have to have a good team behind you. And the main thing is, too, that I've ran into as a publisher, and you probably ran into this as well, Elizabeth, you want to make sure that you're going to publish somebody that actually wants to do the work, because
Yes.
you have people that want you to do all the work, but you got to be you have to be able to want to do the work yourself. I can't
Right.
publish your book and then do a radio interview for you. It doesn't work like that, and that's
Right.
happened. So yeah, that's a little quick nugget, but I'm going to move on to the technical essentials. So we often hear about ISBNs, copyright, distribution platforms. From a professional standpoint, what are the non-negotiables, technical steps a writer must take to ensure their work is market ready? So this question, I'm going to go for Diane. How does Hollywood fringe work for playwriters?
Okay.
Deanna.
Hi. So I'm kind of confused because it was a publishing question, but then we jumped to the Hollywood Fringe. But I think I'll
But
disregard the first part.
it's a broad question. We're
Okay,
talking about
gotcha.
this is a
Okay,
broad question, but each of you have a separate question based on your professionalism and the knowledge
yep,
in the area that you are.
gotcha. Thank you. And I did read the questions, by the way. I was just, I thought you were gonna ask them. I, uh, so yeah, I don't even know where to start. I started out writing film, and so I became very familiar with copyright issues and anything that falls into that arena and film. Then I moved on to TV, and now in play. And so the question about the Hollywood Fringe Festival is one of the two festivals I did last year with my show. And the way the festival works is I'm learning this as I go, but there are three different types of festivals for solo artists or playwrights altogether. There's the kind of festival that's curated, and so you apply to it and they accept you or they don't. There's the festival where you are invited. You're invited, but you're invited, but you set up your own show and you set up everything by yourself. And then there's ones that you apply and you're in, but you have to set everything up for yourself. So the neat thing about Hollywood, well, Hollywood is you, the artist or the company or the theater company pays up front for the theater and for the tech director and everything else, and then they in turn receive all of the box office profits from that. And so it allowed me to put which is really funny because I didn't realize I was going to be doing the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and I had applied to Cincinnati. Long story short, Hollywood was right after Cincinnati, and there were two very different festivals. But I had the opportunity to do my show 7 times at the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and I had a great theater, and I could choose from all of these different theaters. So that is how I got my first solo show up, and I think it's a great way for playwrights to test out their work, or to perform their work if they're touring it, because it's a huge festival. There's about 400 shows. Last year there were about 400 shows, and they all take the span of 2 weeks, all around a lot of different theaters around the Hollywood theater row. What we call theater row, and yeah, so that's how that's. To me, I feel I never knew about these festivals because I was so in the world of film and TV. I never knew about the festivals and for playwrights and theater festivals, but the one I'm doing in New York is called United Solo Fest, and it's solo performers from all over the world, who have written, their solo shows or whatever they're putting up. So yeah, so that's how festivals work, and it's a great way for you have to raise money, or maybe have deep pockets yourself because you do have to put money up front. Cincinnati, for example, was not one. Cincinnati is a festival where it's curated, so we were one of 9 selected main lineups, and then you split the box office. So they put up the theater and they put up the tech and everybody, and then they do that. So that's how it works, how the festivals work.
Thank you. This next question is for Kirsten. How do people get into journalism?
I mean, that's a very broad question with a lot of different roots. I do want to go back really quickly to the question about choosing a path for book writing. I've published 4 books, all of them through traditional publishing, and I always tell people, if you are really committed to the book and you're happy that it exists, hybrid and self-publishing, great ideas. If you are feeling a way about the book and you don't know if you really have the commitment to it, go traditional, because traditional forces you to at least not write the whole book up front to see if you're really interested in all of the books that I've written, I've done a pitch doc and have gotten them sold, and I think that helped me in the sense that I felt that the time was not, that I had the time to develop things, unless you really want the book out. So that's my answer to that really quickly. But getting into, I mean, I'm a very specific journalist. I'm not, I'm an entertainment journalist. It's a very different path than, trying to get into politics or economic journalism or any of that. So this only applies to my specific field. I mean, in my case, it was spending a lot of time pitching, finding out who editors were, watching a lot of movies, always having ideas, being able to synthesize those ideas into a pitch, and then getting them to the right people. Hearing no a lot. I still hear no all the time. Um, so it's really something that I didn't really have a plan on how to do. I just started doing it, but it required me to be a writer first and foremost. And I think that's the frustrating thing about seeing a lot of younger people get into entertainment journalism, especially in the landscape of influencers, is that they don't understand how to write. They don't understand how to write entertainment journalism. So I think that, it's not just watching movies, it's learning how to tell a story, it's learning how to do research, it's learning how to synthesize ideas. So I tell everybody that, going to film classes is great, but be taking a lot of English classes at the same time, because that's far more important.
Thank you. So, right quick, Elizabeth, can you address journalism as well?
Yes, that was excellent advice, Kristen. Thank you for that. I went the traditional route in college. I decided to go for journalism and I went to the campus newspaper. So I started writing there. I became a reporter, fell in love with it. And then I became an editor. Then I worked at a newspaper, the San Diego Tribune, as an intern in the summer. Then I got a master's from Columbia in the journalism department. Journalism school, sorry. And then I got a job at a big city newspaper, the Detroit News. And so I was on this traditional trajectory. And then I started writing books, but I've also worked at Fox 2 Detroit. I've written for the New York Times. That was my job when I lived in New York. I was a copy clerk. And so I got to see the inner workings of the paper, and they published a portion of my thesis. I've written for Ebony, Essence, Ms., some magazines here in Detroit, Our Magazine. And so it's just, and then I also co-host an Emmy-nominated TV show called My Healthy Mind here in Michigan that's all about mental health, and it's been on since 2015 every week, and it airs across the state. So I have all the skills, but it laid a foundation for writing books, because when you have the skills of journalism, asking questions, curiosity, organizing your content, lays the perfect foundation for writing books.
Awesome. And so I'm going to ask, this goes back to, I'm going to ask you again, Elizabeth, real quick. At what point do you feel that a writer needs an agent or a professional press for a press? And what should Black and Brown disabled women look for in a partner to ensure their voices isn't sanitized?
Oh, I love that question. So if you're going to go to the big five, you need a literary agent, and they are your representative. And they have the contacts at the publishing companies that they can just call and pitch your book or send in a proposal and hopefully secure you an excellent book deal. I highly recommend that you find someone who represents your genre and also has the sensitivities that you might need and want, to make sure that they understand who you are and what you're bringing to the table. That's something we specialize here at Two Sisters Writing and Publishing, is extreme sensitivity and empathy. It's a very competitive business, and you want someone who you really vibe with, and you need to feel the love from them. It's business, but there's that warm and fuzzy element with people that you need to have. It's very important. And so I would definitely just trust your heart when you are querying. A really good way to connect with editors and agents, literary agents is to go to a conference if you can, or if you're here in Detroit, there's the Detroit Writing Room, that's a website, and also the New York Writing Room website, where you can connect with agents through virtual meetings and talk to them about your book. And if they're not representing your type of story or your genre, then they might refer you to someone else. So I think that going for an agent who understands your mission, because a book isn't just a book, it's a mission. It's about educating people. It's about making change in hearts and minds. And so that's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much. So, Kristen, I want to ask you this question. In your experience, what does it look like for an author to ask for access without apology, whether that's requesting accessible venue for a book tour or requesting diverse sensitivity readers?
I mean, that's not really applicable in my case. I didn't do a book tour. All of my stuff has been kind of self created using places that I knew already were accessible. I didn't travel out of state. For the book I wrote that I got that was non commissioned, I just stayed in LA. The publisher was an academic press. My agent didn't get me a great deal, and so I did about as much work as I got paid for it. So in my case, it was more sticking to LA. So
Gotcha.
I didn't really have to worry about travel. And in the case of my first book, it was during the pandemic, so there was a lot more virtual options. And I didn't have because it was an academic press for my disability and film book. I didn't have sensitivity readers. I was the one who was responsible for reading and editing it. It was not a great experience. So again, I didn't really have that, and I don't have that with my other two books because they're nonfiction. So it's more about fact-based stuff. But in advocating as a journalist, I mean, I definitely have been in situations all the time where I'm asking if a venue is accessible. You'd be surprised how many places here in LA don't have accessible venues for film events. And I have to kind of be the person that's like, hey, I would love to come to this historic home. Is it accessible? And then their answer is like, no. And I get to be that person that's kind of like, well, then that you're not really looking for, disabled people to come. That's kind of disappointing. So I've kind of like entered my no f's mode at this point. Most people, I've been in journalism long enough, they know me, they know that I'm disabled. That hasn't changed. So at this point, it's kind of reminding everybody, like, every year I tell you don't use this house, and every year you do it. So maybe you should just tell me you don't care if I can come to this place. So I've really, I think that I'd love to say that I've cultivated some power in my side of the industry, but I think if anything, it's been interesting to see people kind of freak out when I go to stuff and be like, please don't say anything bad. And I think that my whole thing is always, I don't want to write anything negative about, this company not, welcoming disabled journalists. I'm like, I just want you to do it. Just do the job. And then I won't have to be that person to kind of go on social media and be like, why is this festival not accessible? So it's taken me a while to kind of not be afraid to just kind of be like, hey, you should just do it, instead of me emailing you all the time and having you explain to me why it's not possible.
Thank you so much. So Diana, can you take that question for us, please?
Yes. And by the way, everybody can call me Dee. Everybody does that. All my friends call me Dee. So I love Dee. I have a friend who passed away in college and her name was Dee. So whenever people call me Dee, it's nice. It's sweet. Yeah, Kristen, what you just said, oh my gosh, I can't stop going. And, I became a wheelchair user, not almost at 10 years. So I guess it was kind of a while back, but I entered a new world, a completely new world that I never knew existed, which is that of the inaccessibility of it all, because we go through our lives thinking that the ADA exists, so people with disabilities must be protected, and we're not paying attention when we go places, but we do see the signs in certain places, and so we're like, oh yeah, see, there's signs everywhere. That's how, if you're not around anybody who's disabled and you are not a person who's disabled, it is very hard to not understand what that world is. And that is that's one of, I'm a big activist about, there's a saying that's going around saying nothing about us without us. And it's the idea of, in movies and in TV, we're seeing there's not, the pendulum's not swinging to see more actual disabled artists with disabilities. They're casting people without disabilities to play people with disabilities, and so that's a big fight and a lot of anger going on. I didn't realize that. I mean, everywhere I go, because of the wheelchair, I have to call ahead of time and make sure it's accessible. It's not one of those things where I can just show up wherever and whenever I want to. It's like, and more times than not, places are not accessible. So during the film fest or during the Fringe Festival now in theater, let me tell you, I'm going to be super honest because I'm very, very angry. Theaters are not accessible. Theater spaces are not accessible. And it doesn't make sense to me because, like, I'll call places and I'll say, sorry, is your theater accessible? Yes, it is for the audience. And I'm like, okay, but for the stage? Oh, no, it's not. During the Hollywood Fringe Festival, I am now on the access board of the Hollywood Fringe Festival, because I was pretty outspoken about it. They did, not the festival, but somebody, tied to the festival in some way, did a big pitch fest where everybody could do 10 minutes of their play and get some feedback. So when I called to see if the place was accessible, they said it was not. And I said, so you basically, one person out of this entire festival was not able to attend a program that's supposed to be for everybody. And so I'm seeing, in New York, they're having a huge, they accepted my play. So how they didn't know I use a wheelchair, I'm not sure. So it's those little things. In New York, I'm facing a place that is not accessible. And while I'm still ambulatory and I can pick up my legs a little bit, at my home's not accessible to a degree. But my point is that I have to now figure out how to accommodate the situation, and now I have to find people to pick up my chair and put it on the stage and take it back down. And so it has been, and I get really angry because I'm one of those people that has always been about justice and about fairness, and just to see how unfair, it is. So anyway, but I do see people wanting to make changes, and I do see people asking. It's just, if you don't ask somebody like me, a wheelchair user, and you write something or you plan a space, then you're probably going to fail. So, definitely for writers, for everybody, I just say, really hire somebody with that disability. People with disabilities also need to work, and there's a huge unemployment rate there. So I think I lost the train of the question. I hope that answered that question. But it's been very difficult to traveling is hard. Traveling is not easy with a wheelchair. My airlines have broken my chair twice. So figuring out transportation in other cities. And I have my accessible van here, but I can't take my accessible van to other places. So it's very, very, very difficult to navigate life with a wheelchair and to be an artist who tours and goes places and find stages that are not accessible and that. So I hope I answered your question.
Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this next question I'm going to pivot to Elizabeth. This is about social media. So authors are often expected to be always on social media. We got to have that social media presence. What are some more burnout free strategies for promotion that doesn't require sacrificing mental health or privacy? Some sustainable. I can never pronounce this word. Sustainable.
Okay.
Yes, I could never. That in specific is the hardest words for me to pronounce. Some burnout-free strategies for promotion that doesn't require sacrificing your mental health or your privacy.
Wow, beautiful. Well, a lot of our authors have no desire to be on social media, and that's their prerogative. So I love old-fashioned in-person experiences, book clubs where you can be in someone's living room talking about your book, church gatherings, your faith community, whatever your faith is, community events, festivals. There's so many in-person things you can do in your own area where you have face-to-face contact with people, where you can sell your books. And also speaking, if you have the desire to speak, that can be local as well. Not everybody wants to travel, and we do have authors who travel all over with their books, even the world, and they sell a lot of books and they're on a lot of stages. But that's not for everybody. And we have authors who love being on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. So I say do what works for you, what you're comfortable with. And you can have great success in doing that. And don't burn yourself, pace yourself. Don't overcommit. It should be fun. It should have purpose, but it should be balanced so that you are doing it at your own pace where you feel you're contributing and you're being enriched, but you're not overtaxing yourself.
Thank you so much. So this is going to be the last question for tonight before we bring back Tamika. For those currently working on a manuscript, what is the number one thing that makes a pitch stand out to a publisher or journalist like Kristen Lopez in today's crowded market? So, Kristen, I can let you start since you was in the question. So, how can we stand out? If I was an author, well, I am an author, and I wanted to pitch, how can I stand out to you?
I mean, because of my specific corner of entertainment, I mean, it has to be applicable to what I'm writing about. So, most of the time I get emailed about, fiction books, and I don't cover fiction because I'm in the entertainment landscape. So, I always say research the places that you're pitching to, make sure that you're, in their wheelhouse, that there's something that they've covered in the past. Be succinct. A good pitch should answer, why is it timely? What is the angle in one sentence? And why are you the only person that should be able to write it? So yeah, those are the things that I look for, and I mean, in regards to actual publishing, in my case, I published, or I pitched a book that I just finished, I'm in edits on right now, that's coming out next year, that kind of employed all of that, and emphasized that, there's a nostalgic angle. Here's some other books that it's similar to, but this is why it's different. So I think that, a good pitch email can be applicable to anything that you want to sell.
Thank you. And last, let me ask Deanna, Miss D, to let us end with your answer. For those currently working on a manuscript, what is the number one thing that makes a pitch stand out?
So I'm going to just translate manuscript into a screenplay or a movie, let's say a movie or a TV show. I mean, it's very interesting hearing Elizabeth talking about the publishing world, because film and TV is very much the same. There's the very big agencies, the huge agencies that have the context to all the big A-list actors and all of that, and then there's smaller agencies and agents and managers, and more than likely you're not going to get a chance to pitch to an actual production company that, big, let's say an A24 type production company, that without an agent or without a manager. So so that's that. If you're trying to publish that, if you're trying to get into that world. So that's a hard question to answer. As far as for film, again, you're pitching to the people, as Elizabeth said, in the world, is if you look for agents or managers that are in your genre. If you're going to pitch your film to somebody, or if you're going to start your writing your script, start researching those companies or those places. But yeah,
right, because you can't take a romance book to a Christian house and say,
exactly. You're not going to take an action, right? You're not going to take an action film to an animation house for kids. And then for me, again, going back to theater, the neat thing about that is that when you're just starting out like I am, is just create your thing, start writing your own stuff, and then start. There's no, to me, I don't know about playwriting. Like, I don't know enough yet to get into playwriting and how they get their work published or even, produced, if you will.
Well, ladies, thank you. It has been such a nice conversation, because this is exactly what we had. We had a conversation, and it's been really, really nice speaking with you ladies tonight. And we are going to bring back Miss Tamika to the floor with us to close us out. You're muted.
Oh my goodness, I should know this by now. So yeah, thank you so much to Kimbra, for moderating, Elizabeth, for sharing your knowledge, uh, Deanna for your insight. I know of your work for a while now, so it was great to see you and have you on our platform. And
Thank you
Kristen,
for having me.
as well, I follow you and your work as well. So, and I love seeing what you're doing. And as you know, journalism is such an important work. I have my bachelor's in journalism too, so yeah, I know a little bit of the struggle that goes into it. So, but thank you all of you for joining, and so I am with the remaining minutes that we have left. I just want to share. No, there was a question. Will this recording be saved? Yes, this will be saved on our YouTube page. So if you missed any aspect of tonight, um, a video, like the live stream, you can come back to Divas in the City TV YouTube, and you will and go to the live section of our YouTube page, and you'll be able to watch it. Also please share, with other authors or people that you know that you think would be beneficial to this information. Please share, and then also we're going to be coming back to do another live, but on April 16th on for Black Maternal Health Week. So we're partnering with Mother Justice, a wonderful national organization, and the event is entitled um, Black Mamas with Disabilities Speak. So you'll get to hear from Black mothers with variety type of disabilities. Some of the cast of Divas will be back for that, but then also you'll hear from other people in the Black maternal health space on how to make it more inclusive to mothers with disabilities and chronic conditions. So if you're not yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for that. And as I share for those who have purchased their tickets, please join us in a few minutes in a private Zoom with Kebra and I to answer your questions. So to prepare for this event, we also put a call out there for disabled women authors, and so this everyone who registered for tonight event will have access to that. We'll also put it on our social media channels, and I'm going to share right now the 14 women who have been that is part of this curated book list. So I'm going to share that real quick. All right. So the first person that really want to highlight is their name is at Dr. Ashley Crooks Allen. They wrote How Glue Gun Chronicles. How to Glue Gun Chronicles, a guide to put the pieces together. This is a collection of poetry from Afro Latinx queer poet and scholar, again, Dr. Ashley Crooks Allen. She's the winner of the 2023 Philosophy Media Group Publishing Competition. And so they do a lot of great work in the poetry space. You can purchase their book on Amazon and then also follow them at Lyric Lively. So big shout out to uh, Dr. Ashley Crooks Allen. Another person I want to highlight is Cyrita Benjamin. She wrote a historical fiction romance novel, Every Goodbye Ain't Gone. It is about a person who, was burnt out by their career and failed marriage. And so Joy's life hangs on by a thread. So when her boss gaslights her into attending an antebellum wedding in Louisiana, she quickly finds out there's more to the restored plantation than its dark history. And so you can find her book on Amazon, Every Goodbye Ain't Gone. Then we have Shilanda Asakazi. She wrote a book, her memoir, that Girls in the Wheelchair. Is She's from Lake Erie in Ohio, so it's about a book about her life being a young black disabled woman living under the microscope of the world stereotypes. So it shows a little bit of her struggles through poverty, abuse, mental, physical illnesses, ridicule, racism, and love. So you can find her book on Amazon as well. Then we have Amaya Armstrong. She wrote a book alongside her friend. It's a collection of personal essays about fandom, misogynoir, ableism, entertainment, and white feminism. So her book is called Do Not Call Me Sis. So that sounds very interesting. So you can buy her book at harryanahook.com. Again, I'm going to put this on our social media too, so you can have access to it. Then we have Nadia Hunter Bay. She wrote a book called Restoration of Orange. It's a collection of poetry. It's a book to show how women can rediscover self-love and regaining that intimate glow that has been lost, stolen, buried under the weight of life and collapsed relationships. Then we have Mama Got Rhyme, Daddy Got Mama Got Rhyme, Rhythm, Daddy Got Rhyme. That's by Robin Wilson. So it is a book about a 6-year-old who loves jazz. And so she goes through the history of jazz through with her parents in the book. You get that on Amazon. Then is Letitia Dochette. She wrote her book chronicling her life 40 years of after living with a spinal cord injury and traumatic brain injury. So she writes this about her experience. Then there's Monique Stamps. I Must Be a Mermaid. This is a children's book that is heartwarming and empowers children have courage, self-love, and rediscover joy in new ways. Also on Amazon, the Karen Gasperini de Quelas. She was here today. She wrote 2 books, Ariana Magic Books, Volume 1 and Volume 2. It's about a 5-year-old disabled girl, Ariana, that lives in a magical journey in the sea with her leg braces. And that's on Amazon. Then we have Shattered Dreams and Broken Pieces. That's by Dr. Donna Walton. It chronicles her life story and how she regained new confidence and rebuilt her world after having the amputation of her leg, one of her legs at 18. So it chronicles her journey. That's on Amazon. Then there's Kenya Harper, Kenya's Amora LLC. That is a collection of children's books featuring children of color in various magical situations. Kenya is a passionate author, born and raised in Detroit. Her mission is rooted in the belief that it takes a village to raise a child, and she encourages children, parents, and teachers to dream big, believe in their possibilities, and become a village of go-getters for children of color. Then we have Jacqueline Seves, who is also here with us today as Moraes in business. So it's talking about her journey of being an entrepreneur, um, being a Latina businesswoman, but business owner with a disability. And so you can get her book at the Junctions Party Store in Detroit and also Amazon. Then we have our part, the anthology, Melanated Queens, Rising Beyond Disabilities. That is by also published by Kenya Moore. And so this is a collection of stories of 10 Black women with disabilities and how they transform their struggles into triumphs. Then you have Women in Leadership anthology that with me, that's in a book. I wrote about my journey being a Black disabled woman in leadership, in the media, and also in the nonprofit space. Also, Juliet Romeo is in this book. She writes her journey as a woman, Black woman with sickle cell anemia in film. And then we have Yolanda Harris, who also wrote her journey as being neurodivergent and diagnosed with autism at 58. So she tells her journey. So you can find our books, the anthology, on Amazon. So you can go under my name to find my portion of the my specific book, and Juliet Romeo and Yolanda Harris. You can find us on Amazon to purchase the book. And that's it. So again, thank you, Elizabeth, and thank
Tamika,
you all. Yes.
I have a best-selling book that just came out, and it teaches people everything you need to know to write,
Yes.
publish, and promote a great book. It's on Amazon, and it's a workbook, and it just really is solid guidance. If anybody's out there struggling, this book can help. It's called Write Your Book
Yes, yes, yes.
Today.
Yes, yes. Okay, and I'm
Thank
gonna make
you.
sure to put that on a curated list as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So that is it for today. Again, join us on April 16th and from 6 to 8 p.m. for Disabled Black Mothers with Disabilities Speak. All right, till next time.
Thank you, Tamika and Kibra.
Yeah, thank you.